With 2025 coming to a close, we're counting down the 6 moments that defined a Dodger season. One shocking signing, Shohei Ohtani stealing the spotlight again and again, and plays that literally saved the year. Buckle up, we've got a lot to dig into. Let's do it!
You are Locked On Dodgers, your daily Los Angeles Dodgers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everybody? I'm Harry Ruiz, that's Travis Rodgers, and it's time for Locked On Dodgers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. Today's show is a special one, our final show of the year together, so we're counting down our top 6 Dodgers moments of 2025. Not the stats, not the projections, the moments, the ones that made you jump off the couch, lose your voice, or just sit there shaking your head like, did that just happen, Travis?
There were a lot of them. It was hard to get it down to just 6. There could have been 60, and I think we would have had more than enough to choose from. We're going to get into as many of them as we can on today's episode of Locked On Dodgers, which is brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long.
Travis holds it down every weekday from 3 to 6 on the Travis and DeMarco show on 710 ESPN LA. And if you're not in LA, or if you're away from the dial, you can always stream it on the ESPN LA app. As for me, when I'm not on the mic calling USC football, like tomorrow at the Alamo Bowl in San Antonio, or Las Vegas Raiders games in Spanish, like I will be on Sunday to see if they get the #1 overall pick. This is the spot, locked in with you, talking Dodgers, breaking it all down every weekday. If you're new here, welcome in. You're officially family now. And to our everydayers, you already know the deal. You're the heartbeat of Locked On Dodgers. Are you watching on YouTube? Please hit like, drop a comment, and make sure that you're subscribed. Are you listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your pods? A quick 5-star rating helps more Dodger fans find the show. All right, we're counting down the moments from 6 to 1, and I'm going to kick things off with number 6. So here's the deal. I know the moments that Travis picked because I produced the show behind the scenes. Travis doesn't know the moments that I picked, so you're going to find them out with us together. Number 6, the shockwaves that started it all. This one technically happened before the calendar flipped, but emotionally, in my opinion, it set the tone for everything that followed. The Dodgers had one very clear mission going into the 2025 season. Get an ace, not depth, not upside, a dude. And they didn't just get one, they got Blake Snell, 2-time Cy Young winner, left-handed power stuff, postseason pedigree. I mean, Travis, Blake Snell, I feel that a lot of us were shocked the moment that they signed him in the offseason, and it's like, holy crap, we got a pretty good rotation going on right now. But you get Blake Snell and add him up there to Tyler Glasnow, to Yoshinobu Yamamoto, the eventual return of Clayton Kershaw. And that right there is a rotation where you're going to be a menace to whoever you play. And that's what it ended up happening in the postseason. And that was the weakness for the Dodgers in 2024. And they still won the World Series. They added him in 2025. And I feel that they can't win the World Series without Blake Snell in the 2025 season.
Yeah, I think that's the best place to start, right? Is that they don't win the title without him. And when they signed him, it was like you said, Harry, it was a bit of a surprise because there weren't a ton of rumors that the Dodgers were going to be in on him. And then all of a sudden it was just done. It went from there was a whisper to it was done in what felt like about 5 seconds. Now, it makes a lot of sense. Andrew Friedman and Snell go back to their days together in Tampa, that they had been looking for an opportunity to continue to work together at some point. And then when he came in, I remember being at Dodger Stadium on opening day, or at least home opening day, opened in Japan, and Snell pitched that first game and watched him going, okay, early in the season, he didn't look particularly good, but he kind of battled and got through it, beat a pretty good Tigers team. And then, of course, he pitches, I think, 1 or 2 innings in his next start, and then he's gone. And I remember thinking to myself, wow, this was a lot of money, a lot of expense on a guy who does miss a lot of time. And then we really didn't see him for the better part of 3 or 4 months. But boy, oh boy, when he got back, was that exactly what the Dodgers had paid for? It is exactly what you described. Just one of those guys. Here's the ball. Go get him. Give up a run or two over 6 or 7 innings and give us a chance to win. And that's what he did every single night. Just a huge acquisition for him.
No doubt about it. And it was poetry, what you just mentioned, Travis, that Snell reunited with an Andrew Friedman, the same executive who helped draft him years ago in Tampa, and where they were able to make a run in the postseason, but they weren't able to win it all. Now you go from penny pinching with the Rays to be like, hey, man, you're part of an organization that's going to be spending a lot of money and taking teams not only with potential, but teams with, hey, man, winning is the expectation. It's not hopefully we have a good season and we look ourselves into the playoffs and win a game or two. No, right here, it's Blake Snell, the Dodgers, 2 pieces that want to win. The previous year, he waited until March to sign with the Giants, and he ended up getting a contract, 2-year deal with an opt-out after the first year. He immediately opted out and he signed with the Dodgers. That for me was the moment number 6 of the 2025 season, let's call it that way, of the year for the Boys in Blue, that ended with back-to-back titles, getting Blake Snell in the clubhouse and making him a part of that rotation. That was moment 6. What's number 5 for you, Travis?
So number 5 for me was another one that I was lucky enough to be in the ballpark for and get a chance to see it. It was Shohei Ohtani's debut on the mound, right? So when they went and got him as a free agent, everybody knew that it was going to be a while since he pitched. He just suffered another arm injury, and it was going to be he's going to pitch eventually, but the 2024 season, it's going to just be Ohtani the slugger. And what a show that was, right? The first 50-50 season ever. But there was still this untapped element of Shohei's game. And he finally gets out there. And it was, I've never seen a game, playoff game, any of this stuff, where everybody was completely locked in and hanging on every pitch. And you knew he was only going to throw 1 inning. There was no chance of them extending him. There was no chance of him picking up the win. There was nothing. It was just, what is he going to look like in a Dodger uniform on the mound for the first time at Dodger Stadium? And it was amazing. He didn't pitch particularly well. He wasn't sharp. He was throwing really hard. And the thing that stuck with me more than any of this, Harry, was he finishes the inning and then he goes back. He doesn't go into the dugout. He doesn't go and sit down and catch his breath or something. He walks to the on-deck circle. He hands his cap and his glove to Bat Boy and immediately starts putting on all his stuff to get ready to go hit. And it struck you all over again. This is not normal. This is not how this is supposed to go, where the guy that is the starting pitcher of the game doesn't go and lead off the game as well. And it just was a really just, incredibly exciting reminder of just how unique this man is. And then, of course, everything that he brought to the Dodgers on both the mound and in the batter's box, and just those incredible moments where he would do both things in a single game, and something we'll probably never see again.
Yeah, June 16 is when that happened. And I remember when it was announced by the Dodgers that he was going to be pitching, the ticket prices went up through the roof. It was the expectation. It was everybody wanting to be there. And it was a moment. And you don't get a lot of those in baseball, where it's like, you get opening day, which the tickets are going to be crazy expensive. You get the World Series, which that those tickets are going to be crazy expensive. But besides those days, you get a big bobblehead like Shohei Ohtani, that they ended up going from 40,000 bobbleheads to having to say everyone that has a ticket is going to get a bobblehead, because if not, we got people lined up since 4 a.m. and we're going to need extra security for 10 plus hours than what we were expecting, because people want that bobblehead so damn much. So you got that type of situation, but having Shohei pitch 1 inning went and had people going bananas. I got lucky to be there the day after Independence Day, and he went, I believe, 3 innings against the Houston Astros, if not 4. And man, it was a spectacle. And you could even you weren't going to your seat in between innings. Like you said, you were just focused on Shohei and seeing the procedure and seeing what he was doing and going all and being putting all his gear and going up to bat. And it was awesome. He struck out the side against the Astros, which I really enjoyed. And it was like, man, if this is what Dodger fans can expect for multiple years, because like you said, we didn't see it in 24. He had elbow surgery at the end of the 2023 season, and we still got a 50-50 year. And then the next year, we still got a 50-50 year. Now home runs and batters struck out. It was awesome. And it was something that, I mean, we had never seen to that level before.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I want to be careful how I say this, because I don't want to minimize his offensive ability in any way, shape, or form. But I feel like we've become, I don't want to say used to, but at least familiar with what he does up to bat, at least familiar with what he can do on the bases with his legs. Like, we've seen him hit home runs. We've seen him get doubles. We've seen him get triples and steal bases. Like, we've seen the best version there is of Shohei Ohtani, offensive player. But we're still getting glimpses of what the best version of Shohei Ohtani, the pitcher, is. And I'm talking about as a Dodger. I know we've seen him as an Angel, but it's not the same because they're playing for stuff. He's playing for stuff. And just to wrap this up where we started with it, he on a team that is filled with stars, with Clayton Kershaw, with Mookie Betts, with Freddie Freeman, nobody draws eyeballs like Shohei Ohtani. It's when he even comes out of the dugout to get on deck, when he's just walking out to the mound in between innings, everybody is locked in on number 17, and the amount of presence and aura that he brings to a baseball game is it's just not really a baseball thing to have a megastar like that, and there's no megastar like that guy.
And it's not that he's pitching, it's the way that he pitches, because we've seen even guys like Kiké Hernandez and Miguel Rojas in games that are out of control go out there and just eat innings. Shohei Ohtani's throwing 100+ mile per hour pitches. He's being consistent. He's being a weapon for the boys in blue, both in the batter's box and on the mound. And that day, you could feel it in the stadium, Travis, or myself when I was watching it on TV. Every pitch mattered. Every radar gun reading got a reaction. Every strikeout felt historic. And trust us, if you think this is the last time that Shohei shows up on this list, you haven't been paying attention. You haven't been paying attention. Next, on Locked On Dodgers, we're talking about the end of an era and a play that literally saved the Dodgers season.
Fridays already feel different during basketball season, and FanDuel is making them even better, because every Friday night before the game tips off, FanDuel gives new fans a new way to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour is your official pregame, a limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts. Fridays from 6 to 7:30 Eastern have become appointment viewing with NBA Happy Hour. Opening the FanDuel app during Happy Hour always brings something new. We're talking boosts, bonuses, surprise, and the timing is perfect. Right before the games, right before the weekend starts. It's that little extra something to Friday night basketball without overthinking it. So before tip-off, check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour. Every Friday, 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. A little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour only on FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA.
Thank you for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. You already live your team every day. Now, take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club today and get Locked On Dodgers with no interruptions, members-only Discord access, and more, all for just $5 a month or $50 a year. Go to LockedOnDodgers.supercast.com or check the link in the show notes to learn more. All right, moment number 4. Travis, take it away.
All right, so number 4 for me, again, it's funny, Harry, thinking about all these, maybe this is a little biased because it turns out I got to see this one as well. This was another incredible night at Dodger Stadium, and it was Clayton Kershaw's final home start at Dodger Stadium. We really didn't know what the postseason was going to look like at this point. I think we had a pretty good idea, and I think we were probably right that because the Dodgers were so healthy on the mound, at least as starting pitchers go, that Kershaw was going to be the odd man out. Not only because they're the numbers game, but because, quite frankly, the way he pitches or the way he pitched, it's weird to talk about Clayton Kershaw in the past tense at this point. The way that he pitched was kind of a high wire act. You knew that he was never going to give up a bunch of runs, but you never knew exactly what it was, how he was going to go about getting the outs. And he did it a lot with his brain. He did it some with his arm, and he just did it with this incredible amount of experience. So in that final game against San Francisco Giants, he comes out there, and the first batter of the game puts one halfway up the left field pavilion. And you're like, it can't end like this, really? And then one of the next pitches is a foul ball down the left field line that goes about 600 feet. You're like, oh my God, this is going to end awful. This cannot end. And then he did what Clayton Kershaw does. He settled in and he just went to work, and he was fantastic that night. And it wasn't that he struck out a bunch of guys. It wasn't that he didn't give up any runs. It was just a vintage Clayton Kershaw performance. And like we were talking a little bit about with Shohei Ohtani a second ago, it wasn't quite the same, oh my gosh, I can't believe what it is that I'm seeing. It was more of a thank you for allowing me to see what we've seen for nearly 20 years, where this man would just go out there and compete and be fantastic just about every single time. And he did it with class. He did it with dignity. He did it with respect. He's a Dodger for his entire career. I think if you're ever talking about the Dodger Mount Rushmore, Clayton Kershaw has to be on it just for everything that he's done. And it was a real pleasure to get to see him tip his cap and give his teammates a hug and walk off that field as a starting pitcher for the last time. Now, I know we got back out there again in the postseason a couple different times, but this was really interesting and exciting and emotional to see him leave the game for the first time ever and tip his cap up to his family who sit behind home plate up there on that second deck. It was a really extraordinary night at Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, there's been one constant for Dodger fans who follow this team, who have followed this team for over the last 2 decades, pretty much, and it has been Clayton Edward Kershaw, MVP, a Cy Young Award winner, an All-Star year in, year out, and it was something where we wanted these Dodgers to win a World Series because we hadn't seen one since 1988, but when they got it in 2020, it's like, Kershaw's a champion, man. We were able to get him that championship. And then for him to retire with 2 more, that was amazing. But that day at Dodger Stadium, it was like you said, it felt like the first time he ever played loose in a baseball field, because I remember going to Dodger Stadium as a season ticket holder, and he was all just a routine. He would go out, he would stretch, he would throw all the way from center field down to the third baseline, and he was all focused. Nobody was allowed to touch him, talk to him, distract him. It was pretty much, I remember back then, it was him and AJ Ellis, and it was a routine. It was him pitching, and until the moment he was pulled out of the game, either by Don Mattingly or by Dave Roberts, then he could relax. That day, he was even like waving at his family before the game. Everybody knew how much this meant for the franchise that saw the likes of Sandy Koufax, of Don Newcomb, of Fernando Valenzuela, of Earl Hershiser. You put Clayton Kershaw up there with these guys that are Hall of Famers, with the exception of Valenzuela, who should be in the Hall of Fame. And it's like, man, this is something special for us. Earl should as well. But man, it's like, Kershaw means so much for so many of us, and we know that he pitched again in Arizona for an inning. He pitched again in Seattle, but during the last series of the season, and of course in the postseason. But that last home start was everything, and it was a short one. It was like 4 1/3, and it was just like the day that he was seeking 3,000, where it's like, let's get a lot of strikeouts. He could barely get any strikeouts, but he got the win. The Dodgers got the win, and that's what matters the most. And it was a celebration for one of the icons, not only in Dodgers history, but in LA sports history.
Well, like you said, and I love that you brought it up, that he was loose. Like, he's such a competitor, and he's so locked in. But you could tell this was hey, man, you could tell he was enjoying it. You could tell that he was taking in the moment. And I really respect that, because so often guys, I've got to lock in on this, but look around. There's 50,000+ people there to see you do what you've done so many times, and to get to see him enjoy it like that made it even better.
Absolutely. All right, let's go over with moment number 3. This one is mine. Kiké Hernandez saves the season. Every championship run has that play. And for the 2025 Dodgers, in my opinion, it was Kiké Hernandez doing what Kiké Hernandez does. Be a beast, be a hero in October. Pure instinct, zero hesitation. Game 6 of the World Series, line drive, shallow left, ball fighting the lights, season hanging by a thread. If it drops, it's over. Kiké reads the broken bat, charges in, makes the catch, and without even thinking, fires a second where Miguel Rojas handled a brutal hop. Double play, game over, season alive. Game 7 went down on Saturday, and the Dodgers won. But that right there, Travis, that's not a stat sheet moment. That's baseball IQ. That's awareness. That's championship DNA. And Kiké Hernandez right there, it was the moment, in my opinion, that let the Dodgers still go into Game 7 and be able to win back-to-back titles.
Well, like you said, it was Kiké too, because he's been around for all of these moments. He's a multiple-time World Series champion, and unlike most of the other guys, Blake Snell is likely to end up in the Hall of Fame. Clayton Kershaw is a lock. Shohei Ohtani is a lock to be in the Hall of Fame. Kiké Hernandez,
Mookie.
Yeah, he's just a guy, but he's always in the middle of these incredible moments, and it was really fun. The ball in the lights, like you said, he has to trust that it's going to come out of the lights. He needs to catch the ball on the run. He needs to make an accurate throw on the run. All of these things, and he did all of them except for make the accurate throw. He kind of handcuffs Miguel Rojas at second base, who I talked to Miggy about this, and he kind of shrugged like, not a big deal. That's just what I do, but he short hops it almost behind his back. Like the ball was past him by the time that he makes the dig, and he has to keep his foot on the bag. All of these other things have to happen at exactly the right moment. And I was watching that game at my son's apartment, and we both looked at each other like, it's over? Like that, they survived? Like we get to go back and watch another game the next day? It was because, going back and trying to find your emotions in that moment, it felt like, this is not going to end well. There's too much traffic. There's too many things going on. A base hit here, this, that, and the next thing. And instead, the game ended in the Dodgers' favor almost instantly. It was quite a moment. And of course, Kiké was in the middle of it. He's always in the middle of it.
I was in a hotel in Nebraska before USC played the Cornhuskers the next day. And I remember right before the bats hit the ball going to left field, I said, anybody but George Springer, please. Don't let this be the guy that kills us. And then I'm like, broken bat, you see Kiké go for it. All right, out. Wait, what the hell? Oh, double play, game over, game 7. We're alive. Come on, perfect. Let's do it. And I mean, it was just a breathe in, breathe out. We're alive. That moment right there, it doesn't allow game 7 to happen if he doesn't get it that way. And the thing is, there's so many moments like that throughout the postseason, but I feel like that one right there just set the tone for the Dodgers to just keep on going. And like you said, he's not a future Hall of Famer. He is for us Dodgers fans in our franchise, but that's the funny part. He's supposed to be like the dugout guy, the guy in the clubhouse that sets the vibes. Yeah. He's supposed to be the guy that puts on the banana outfit in the dugout and have everybody have fun. And right there, like I said, October, he just becomes a completely different monster. Yeah. All right. Coming up on Locked On Dodgers, Shohei Ohtani at his absolute peak and a swing that will forever be remembered by Dodger fans. Don't forget to follow Locked On Dodgers not only on YouTube, but on X, Instagram, and TikTok as well. You can find Travis on social media at Travis Rodgers on X and Instagram. Meanwhile, I'm at Harry Ruiz on X, at Harry_Ruiz on Instagram, and at Harry Ruiz_ on TikTok. If you want to see why my face looks so tired over the last 2 weeks, go to my social media and you'll see how damn busy I have been. All right, moment number 2 of the Dodgers 2025. Immortality in October. Shohei Ohtani had never played in the postseason until he arrived to the Dodgers in 2024. In 2025, this wasn't just great. This was historic. He didn't just play Game 4 of the NLCS. He owned it. He was the starting pitcher. He also led off the game with a home run. He ended up going 6 scoreless innings in the same game where he hit 3 home runs to clinch the pennant. No one in baseball history, regular season or postseason, had ever done anything similar to this. Not Babe Ruth, not anyone. And he did it with the Dodgers one win away from clinching their spot in the World Series. Travis Rodgers, that right there is a game that Dodger fans will always have in the back of their mind. Like, I remember either being there or seeing that live.
Well, go back to going into game 4. What was the conversation surrounding both the series and surrounding Ohtani specifically? Because the series was, who do you give the MVP to in this series? Because no one had really looked great other than the starting pitchers. So you're like, do you give it to Snell, who was awesome? Do you give it to Yamamoto, who was also awesome? Do you give it to
They only pitched once.
Exactly. They'd only all pitched once. And you're like, can you give it collectively to the starting rotation? Like, because we've seen guys get co-MVPs. Like, so almost, is it Will Smith? Is it Max Muncy? You're kind of knocking around who it might be. The name that never came up was Shohei Ohtani, because the conversation around Ohtani was, what's wrong with him? Why isn't he hitting? Why can't he get any hits? We show, maybe he shouldn't pitch and hit. And we were having these crazy. And I remember talking about this on my radio show. I remember talking about it with you here. It's like, guys, calm. It's Shohei Ohtani. He will figure it out. He will do what he's always done, because this is just who he is and what he does. Now, I had no idea he was going to do that. Because, like you said, nobody had ever done that. Nobody will ever do that. But as crazy as it was, 3 home runs, like you mentioned, 6+ innings, no runs allowed, 10+ strikeouts. It was almost like, yeah, of course that's what he does, because that's who he is. And that's the sort of moments that he's always able to rise up to. So not only did our MVP question become obvious, but the what's wrong with Shohei Ohtani conversation was put to bed just like that. He's Shohei Ohtani, man. I feel silly talking about him all the time because I'm running out of words to describe it. Only he keeps creating more moments that are indescribable and more moments that are, iconic in the way that they go on. We haven't even talked about the one in the World Series where he's on base 9 times. It's just, the list of Ohtani accomplishments is almost endless. And I'm sure we'll be sitting here at the end of 2026, Harry, and talking about 3 or 4 different ones.
Yeah, it's incredible what this man can surprise us with, because we think that we've seen it all with Shohei Ohtani, and then he always figures out how to do something that has never been done in baseball and be like, of course he would do that, and make it look easy. Because also, what was the conversation before the NLCS started? Oh, the Brewers are such a better collective team. They're a great group of guys. They're not the superstars like the Dodgers. The Dodgers, they just bought all these guys and put them all together. It's going to be a competitive series. Bam, sweep. Next. And that was what happened. And talking about next, it's time for moment number 1, the top moment of the 2025 year for the Dodgers. Travis, take it away.
Well, I don't think you'd have to be Kreskin to know what was coming as the top moment of 2025, right?
Because us becoming co-host of Locked On Dodgers.
Here you go. That's the upset of them all.
Just kidding. Sorry.
Of course, it's the Rojas home run. I'm sure me, like every other Dodger fan out there and all of our everydayers, your algorithms are filled with Dodger content because this is what we love to talk about, love to see. I don't know if I've gone more than 8 or 9 hours on any given day without the Rojas home run showing up in my feed at one point or another. I'm not sure that if you just snapped your fingers and fast forward to 10 years, 20 years, 25 years, if Rojas's home run isn't still the biggest home run in Dodger history. I mean, that's how big of a home run it really was. And we're talking about Freddie Freeman. We're talking about Kirk Gibson. Those weren't in Game 7, guys. They were amazing. Don't get me wrong, but they weren't in Game 7 with the team just a couple of outs away from being eliminated. And then ultimately Will Smith does what he does. But Miguel Rojas, like we talked about with Kiké a minute ago, Miguel Rojas isn't ending up in the Hall of Fame. He's not. He's had an incredible major league career, a very successful one, but he's not a Hall of Famer. But he is a name and a man that everyone is going to remember for an incredibly long time in Dodger history because of the home run he hit Game 7, late innings to send it into overtime from a guy that just doesn't hit home runs. Just an amazing, amazing moment.
Yeah, when you saw which guys were going to go up to bat for the Dodgers in the 9th inning, you were like, all right, Kiké Hernandez, he has that October gene where it's like he makes things happen. He can't get the hit. He can't get on base, nothing. Then it's like, okay, Shohei Ohtani, he's the third man coming up in this inning, so he can make something happen. So, Miggy, if you can get on base, man, that would be spectacular. Hopefully you can. Everybody was already thinking about Shohei while Miggy Rowe was up at bat. And there was a 2-2 pitch that he took that, man, it was so close. But he saw the ball go through. He knew it was a ball. Everybody in Toronto and in the country of Canada thought it was strike 3. He waited, ball 3. All right, I'm still alive. And then bam, he hits that home run when nobody expected it. And it was just for the whole, everybody who's a Dodger fan, it was like, did that really just happen? Joe Davis on the call, he was like, no way. Miguel wasn't going to do anything like that, man. And he gets that home run. He ties the game. And without him, there is no Will Smith being in position to get that home run. There is no Miguel Rojas in extra innings being able to get the out at home with the bases loaded to keep the game alive. All those moments don't happen if Miguel Rojas doesn't hit that home run being down by a run.
And think about this. It was a no-doubter. It wasn't, one of these things. Is it going to make it? Is it not going to make it? The second off the bat, you're like, that's gone. Like it was well into the seats. Just an amazing moment to kind of put a button on it. We weren't the only ones thinking, hey, at least Shohei's going to go. Miguel Rojas sat and told me that when he went up to bat that thing, he's thinking just by any way possible, just make sure that Shohei gets a chance to get up and take an at-bat here. And not only did he do that, but he did what he did, and we got a chance to witness one of the great home runs in baseball history, and certainly one of the great home runs in Dodger history.
No doubt about it. If you're a Dodger fan, you'll remember the exact place you were at when that happened for the rest of your life. And here you go. So, Travis, you are right. The Freddie Freeman and the Kirk Gibson home runs weren't in Game 7. They were in Game 1. But one thing that all these 3 home runs have in common, the Dodgers were down by a run in each one of them. So it was like key for them. Obviously, Gibby and Freddie, they got their home runs to win the game. They were walk-offs. Miggy Rowe, there was still more work to do after it. But, man, it was just a moment in Dodger history that will stay forever.
And the difference, Freddie Freeman hits home runs. Kirk Gibson, even though he was on one leg, Kirk Gibson hitting a home run was not an unusual occurrence. He was Kirk Gibson. He hit home runs. Miguel Rojas doesn't hit home runs. And anyway, he did it anyway. And it was the top moment of the year for me. And we could do this show again and pick 6 different moments. And the only one that's guaranteed to make it is the Rojas home run, because that's how big of a home run it was.
Trivia. Miguel Rojas, 12 seasons in the big leagues. How many times has he hit home runs in the double digits in the regular season? Once.
Yeah.
That's it. And he barely got to double digits, 11 in 2018 with the Miami Marlins. So it's like, this wasn't something that we were expecting. Like I said, we were like, if you can get on base with a walk, with a single, anything, we'll take it. He freaking ties it. It's like, mind blown.
I was thinking Rudy Stein, Bad News Bears, go up there and lean into one and take a pitch and get up there and let Shohei do his thing.
Hey, anything happen. All right, quick recap for the top 6 moments for Locked On Dodgers in 2025. Blake Snell signing with the team, number 6. Number 5, Shohei Ohtani taking the mound for the first time rocking Dodger blue. Moment number 4, you have the Dodgers having Clayton Kershaw as a starter for the last time at Dodger Stadium. Moment number 3, Kiké Hernandez saving the season in Game 6. Moment number 2, you have Shohei Ohtani with that incredible Game 4 of the NLCS. And moment number 1, Miguel Rojas hitting that game-tying home run in the 9th inning of Game 7. Some honorable mentions right here. Game 3 of the World Series, all of it. The 8th inning marathon, Ohtani losing his mind, getting on base for like a million times. Freddie Freeman's walk-off home run. Will Klein being incredible. You have Yoshinobu Yamamoto's postseason complete games. Clayton Kershaw reaching 3,000 strikeouts. I'll throw Teoscar Hernandez's home run in Game 1 of the NLCS against the Phillies too, being a huge moment. That's the thing. We could talk about like 100 moments, and if you're a everydayer here, you know that Dodger baseball gives us a lot to talk about. Travis, you got more.
I'll throw 2 more quick little honorable mentions in there that easily could have made the list. One was the emergence of Roki Sasaki in the postseason as their closer. Who saw that coming? That was extraordinary. And I'm going to throw one in there that involved a Dodger loss. And just because, again, this is one I got to see with my own two eyes, but it was also one of those, okay, I know what's going to happen 2 years from now, 3 years from now. Paul Skeens versus Yamamoto at Dodger Stadium, and Skeens locked LA up. He just went out there and boom, 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 boom. Like it was, Harry, a complete and total mismatch. The Dodgers had no chance against this man. And Yamamoto pitched pretty well that night, but it wasn't close. And getting to see Skeens in person, getting to see him up, it's like, oh, I cannot wait. Like, I know that there have been rumors he wants to be a Yankee or he wants to be this. I know he grew up down here in Orange County, maybe an Angel. But if the Dodgers can just move heaven and earth at some point, maybe it's the year 2028 or 9, I don't know. But Paul Skeens at Dodger Stadium was something else to see.
If he's healthy and if he's still as good as a player as he is in 25 and 29, I will absolutely take him. If not, hey, if they want to do a trade in 26, I'm 1,000% down for it. All right, so those were our moments. Do you have any moment that you have in mind? Let us know on social media at Locked On Dodgers on all social networks. On the comments section on YouTube, let us know your thoughts. Which were your top moments for Dodgers baseball in 2025? All right, that'll do it for today's pod. Thank you for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. Did Locked On Dodgers make your Spotify Wrapped? Prove it on social media to secure a free month of our brand new Everydayer Club. Just tag our national Locked On Podcast Network account on any social platform, and we'll drop you a code. Be one of the first to join the Everydayer Club to get your favorite show ad-free and exclusive access to the members-only Discord channel. For those of you on video, we send you to the first ever 24/7 national Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you make your second listen Locked On MLB. We'll be back very soon, or well, Travis will be with our buddy Sully from Locked On MLB with the 2025 recap with what went down with the Dodgers. You can't miss it, Travis. We teased it last week. Technical difficulties, we weren't able to get it, but we will get it to close 2025 and be our last show of the year, right?
Yeah, Sully's a scream too. You're going to enjoy him. If you haven't had a chance to see him yet, do yourself a favor. He's a lot of fun.
No doubt about it. All right, we appreciate you riding with us. Until next time, keep it real. Keep it Dodger Blue.